Outlaw Sports is brought to you by Molson Canadian, made from Canada.
It is the holiday season, Grant, and nothing brings holiday memories to me than talking about Stampede Wrestling.
Stampede Wrestling?
Yeah, I want to talk about this because I was thinking about it the other day, and some of the funny things that, you know, when we look back at our career, and I was thinking, why didn't I have a little more fun with Stampede Wrestling? Because I was looking at Ed, and he was not only getting great paychecks, but he was having a ton of fun with that stuff. And some of the characters that I met, I have now more of an appreciation for what they did, how they sold it. It was kind of like hucksters back in the Carney days. You go town to town selling whatever you had on the stage, like Elvis Presley in the 50s, Colonel Tom, selling it. And these guys are role playing, they're acting, and maybe it wasn't the greatest performance, but they had fun doing it.
So you're saying what we should have done back then is incorporated more into what we did on TV. I kind of ignored it personally.
So did I, Grant, and I was kind of thinking I was a little bit of a snob.
It was dying then at that time, though, Mike. In the late 80s, early 90s, it was kind of drifting out.
It was because of the WWF coming in, Grant. But, I mean, you just look at it, for example, I remember the first time when we were running sport shorts, and the first time I've used anything on Stampede Wrestling, it was Ed's famous interview with Maka Singh. And so we saw it, the interview started, and you can tell Ed didn't like the guy. And all of a sudden, in the middle of the interview, he grabs Ed's glasses, breaks them, and starts stomping them, and Ed attacks him with a microphone. And I ran that, and we got more laughs about that. And so afterwards on the Monday, I say, Ed, we ran this thing about you and Maka Singh and the glasses. I said, that was hilarious. Is he going to buy you new glasses? He said, you bought that. I said, what do you mean? Did you see any fucking glass in those glasses? That to me was the thing. And then when they had Stu Hart's, I believe it was his 80th birthday, could be his 75th, way back. And so Ed says, why don't you go down there and cover it? And we'll do a fake live. So that means it looks live. And I said, okay, but I don't know anything about wrestling, Ed. And he goes, well, go grab Maka Singh or somebody like that. He's awesome. So big Mike Smith, 320 pounds, and he's still wearing one of those wrestling leotards, which wasn't a pretty sight. So I go up to him, hi, Mike, and he goes, hey, Mike Lunsberg, how are you? I said, well, first I was surprised he knew who I was. And then we started talking. I said, Ed wants to do a fake live. Would you mind? And he goes, no, what do you want to do? And I said, it doesn't matter. He said, well, you start it, and I'll just take it from there and see how it goes. And I said, okay. So we got the camera all ready to go, and I said, thanks very much, Ed. Standing here with Maka Singh, one of the legends from Stampede Wrestling. Give me that mic, you pretty boy. What do you know about wrestling? And old man Whalen, I'm coming to get you. I don't like you, never did, never will. And Jim, he was on about everybody in Calgary. I hate this town. I don't know why I come back. This is a brutal town. I don't even like the Hearts anymore. Why am I here? This is a waste of my time, but I'm here for the money. And I'm here to say hi to everybody from Calgary. And then you suck. And he throws the mic at me. And I go, well, back to you, Ed.
You were shocked?
I was shocked.
You didn't know
I was shocked. And then he's all gone. And then back to you, Ed. And I throw it back. And then Maka Singh, was that okay, Mike?
You see, they were probably the best at getting it, what TV and media is all about, of playing the game to the hilt. Yeah. And of course, I think WWE, or did you call it WWF?
Oh, that was the WWF at first, right?
WWE. No, isn't that the World
WWE now?
Wildlife Federation with geese and all that kind of
World
stuff?
Wrestling Federation.
Well, I thought it was one that's trying to preserve, you know, rhinos or something like that.
Jesus Christ.
What? No, I'm serious.
Okay, well, enough of that.
I never appreciated Stampede Wrestling either. Even as a kid, I never did like wrestling. But I think you're right. We missed an opportunity back then to really incorporate some fun into the sport show. I remember traveling with Ed Whalen during Flames on 2 and 7, and he would always say that he loved being the Flames play-by-play guy. That was so important to him. But he said the least important thing I did in my career, wrestling, made me famous. So what he did what was important was the Flames hockey. It was the wrestling. One time we were in New York, we were in the press box the night or two before a Flames game, just watching, hanging around New York. Hanging around New York a little bit. Some people approached Ed in the press box, some big black guys approaching Ed. They were from Antigua, down in the Caribbean. And they offered and invited him down to the Caribbean island for free, just to be Ed, because down in Antigua in the Caribbean, they watched Stampede Wrestling. Somehow, somewhere, Ed flew down there for the weekend. He was landing down in Antigua at the airport. So all these people and cars at the airport, and he thought some dignitary must have been on the plane with him. It was for him. And they offered him anything he wanted. And I mean anything. And Ed had a wink when he told me that story. And he was a good boy, though, Nomi.
You know who was a huge wrestling fan, and I didn't realize until he left our building, was Toth. Mike Toth loved it. So one night, him and I went out for dinner with our accountant, and all of a sudden, Bruce Hart shows up. He set this interview up with Bruce Hart. Well, Bruce Hart had more interesting stories. We killed ourselves laughing. So anyhow, Bruce and one of his brothers called me up, and they said, yeah, well, we need some help with the Stampede Wrestling. This is shortly after I left Global. And I said, okay. He said, well, we need somebody to produce it. And I said, okay. He said, why don't you come down to the Ogden Legion? That's where they were shooting it. And I said, okay. And he said, just see what you think, get your thoughts. Be there at 6, we wrestle at 7. So I get there at 6, and I'm standing around, and they walk by me and say hi, and I said, okay, well, what time? So 5 to 7, he comes up, and he's wearing blue jeans and his wrestling boots. He said, well, why don't we have a meeting? And Marvin Pope, was former Stampeder, was wrestling then. And so he goes, well, here's tonight's show. Marvin, you'll be wrestling against this guy. And Mike, you'll be his manager tonight. I go, what do you mean his manager? I don't know anything about wrestling. He said, well, just go and roll with it. And Marvin, you're going to be on the ropes, and it looks like you're going to lose, but at about the 2-minute mark in the 3rd round, you rebound and you win it. So we go out there, and I get out there, and they introduce us, and the one manager, he's doing this, you know, Lonsberry, you pretty boy, blah, blah, blah. And I go, what the hell's going on? All of a sudden, these 3 guys with no teeth in the front row of the Ogden Legion go, Lonsberry, you fucking suck. And I go, what the hell is this? And I start shooting back at them, and it was, people were throwing stuff, and Marvin Pope gets in there, wins his thing, and there's Stampede Wrestling.
Ed Whalen said to me the only thing that was not scripted, not fake, when some wrestler, I forget who it was, you might know, stole his microphone, took it from his hand. And Ed said he grabbed the mic back and whacked him across the head. He says, you don't steal my microphone.